afternoon, good evening, those of you on TikTok and YouTube platforms, and I'm Mr. Clay. Yes, this is Biblical Marriage Wednesday. Yes, and we're coming from the book of Ruth, but before that, let us pray. Oh, most holy, I am that I am, even Yahweh, Yahusha, whatever you are in the language of those that are hearing me. I thank you for all that you've done. Yes, we in dire need, even of those that who call themselves by your name. We in dire need of your help here with these marriages and relationships, things that have been infiltrated into our hearts and minds, and we've left the ways of the old landmark. And that landmark been ever since Noah, even Abram. Yes, and those things that have happened, restore unto us. Yes, send a repair of the breach between the husband and the wife, and those in the way that we did things. You seem like the heathen have taken over through their state marriage license and conducting and getting into the family unit when they are not even welcome. Oh, most holy Sanini Nanini, help us to be that which you would have us to be. They've changed even your laws, your way, what you allow and disallow, and they've dictated to us what we should be, that whom we are not. Restore, we ask you, in your name. Yes. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I'm Mr. Clay, and Biblical Marriage Wednesdays. Now, we're in what you wait for. Ruth, or should I say Boaz and Ruth. You know, I see a lot of things. People get this wrong. I watch church. Oh, you're going to get your Boaz and all this. Do you actually know what that story consists of? I see. It sounds good with the organ behind you and people hollering and moaning. But when you actually read the scriptures, a whole different thing. You're going to find out what these women mean when they say that. Now, we're going to Ruth chapter 1, and we're going to read it from verse 1. Now it came to pass in the days of the judge, when the judges ruled. Now this should have been in the book of Judges, but it was not. They somehow put this aside from the book of Judges. When the judges ruled, there was a famine in the land, and a certain man of Bethlehem, Judah, went into sojourn in the country of Moab, he and his wife and his 2 sons. And the name of the man was Elimelech, and the name of his wife was Naomi, and the name of his 2 sons was Mahlon and Chilion, Ephrathites of Bethlehem, Judah. And they came into the country of Moab and continued there. Now Elimelech, Naomi's husband, died, and she was left and her 2 sons. So that gives Naomi, keep this in mind, Naomi was of a older age now, and her 2 sons. And they took them wives, the women of Moab, and the name of one was Orpah, and the name of the other one was Ruth. And they dwelled there about 10 years. So they had to be in their 20s, 30s, somewhere in there. But anyway, Mahlon and Chilion were both of them, and the woman that was left of her 2 sons had and her husband. Okay, we're going to skip. So, fact is, they died. Somehow they died. Now, and Naomi said to the rest of them, she said, "Turn again, my daughters," after they died. She said, "Well, why will you go with me? Are yet there more sons in my womb?" In other words, she says, "I'm barren. I done passed my time. And that they may be your husbands." She said, "Turn again, my daughters, to your way, for I am too old to have an husband. If I should say, I have hope. If I should have an husband also tonight, and should our sons should also bear sons." In other words, I cannot bear sons to you. By the time the sons get old enough, what's going to happen? They're not going to want you. You're going to be too old. But anyway, she went on and said this. And Ruth said, "Entreat me," to her mother-in-law, or her husband's mother is what would it say. Some say mother-in-law, then it's really her husband's mother, her deceased husband's mother. And Ruth said, "Entreat me not, lead thee, or go return," because the other one, she left. She went on and found her a young man somewhere. according to her people. Now Ruth said, entreat me not, leave thee, or to return from following after thee. For she said, don't tell me not to follow you. Okay? For whether thou goest, I will go, and whether thou lodgest, I will lodge. Thy people shall be my people, and thy God my God. Whoa, what man wouldn't want that? Woo! I mean, this was a woman that was raised faithful. This was a woman that was really looking to be agreeable and even cooperating with her husband, with the man she should put up above herself. See, first of all, you should be looking for, as all said all over the internet, all over different things, churches, a man that you can respect. Yes, he might be older, he might be your age or whatever. A man that you can respect. No, not that infatuated. You're going to see a lot of nice looking young men. You're going to see a lot of older men or whatever. You're going to see them, they're going to have big muscles and everything. But can you respect them? You have to look at their character. Can you respect the character that man puts up? Even when the sex is not good, even when everything's, can you respect this man? Oh woman, and oh man, can you love that woman? That's a question for you. I cannot answer it for you. Now, it says, verse 17, where thou diest, I will die, and there I will be buried, and the I am do so to me, and more so also if I ought but death part thee and me. In other words, she says, I'm bound to you, woman. She must have loved her son to want to be a part. Now, this says, back in the old days, the woman usually stayed with the father's family. When the man died, went off to war, she would be with the man's family. She would be around him doing things. In other words, that was her family. See, she left her family. She becomes part of the man's family. And, her family would visit or whatever, but most likely, now look what happened here in the heathen country. It's reverse. Everything's got to go to the woman's family. See, these things are an abomination unto the Most High. They are an abhorrence, should I say, an abhorrence to the Most High. But anyway, when she saw that she was steadfastly minded to go with her, she left speaking unto her. This woman is set on what she's set on. Now, this is the kind of woman you want, young man. This is the kind of woman that you really want. One that will die with you, that would want your God, that want your way. I mean, this woman is sold out. She's saying, it's a ride or die woman. See, the Bible speaks mostly to the man. I'm speaking mostly to the young man, and women take heed. I put it that way. You want that ride or die woman. It ain't like the gangster stuff, all the put up and this stuff. No, not like that. She ride or die whether you become rich or poor. She don't care. She loves you. She wants you. She respects you. Your character, not your money, your character. Who you are, your family, everything that's about you. She likes you. Okay? And she's not going to leave that once she makes her mind up like this woman here, even Ruth. Now, let's go on to verse 2. Now, and Naomi had a kinsman of her husband, a mighty man of wealth. Whoa! A mighty man of wealth, okay, of the family of Elimelech. And his name was Boaz. Now, Boaz was not, as you read in verse 1, I didn't go all the way through it for time's sake. Boaz was not the nearest kinsman to Naomi. Now let's keep going. And Ruth the Moabitess, now she was a Moabite. Somebody told me one time ago, that's what it says. She was a Moabite. Okay? It doesn't matter. The woman really doesn't matter. If you look through all out the Bible, the woman doesn't matter unless God has dictated that woman, that she should be the womb which bear that seed, that takes that seed and bear that child of the man that he's chosen. Now, then he chose her, like he did Sarah, like he did Leah and Rachel, and then from then he took their servants. Yes, he did. Now, he says, now Ruth the Moabitess said unto Naomi, let me now go to the field and glean ears of corn after him, whose sight I shall find favor. And she said unto her, go, my daughter. Anyway, she had to get something to eat. It wasn't that she wanted to get the rich man of this. It says that, but to find favor. In other words, she can come. She can do this. Okay? And she went. And then when Boaz saw what he said unto his servants, that was set over him over the reapers, whose damsel is this? Whose wife is this? Whose daughter is this? Okay, see, she had to find his favor. In other words, whether she should be there or not, she had to find his favor. And the servant that was set over the reapers answered and said, it is the Moabitess damsel that came to with Naomi out of the country of Moab. And then Boaz, I'm skipping again in verse 8, and then said Boaz unto Ruth, hearest thou not my daughter? Hearest thou not my daughter? Go not to glean in the other fields. Now, you have to realize, by Boaz saying this to Ruth, it shows that Boaz was an older man. Very old. He was old, he probably was in the same age or even older than Naomi. Okay? He was probably older than Naomi. So when you say you want your Boaz, well, a lot of times you're talking about an older man. And some of you, I know, do not like older men. Now, anyway, but this here, Ruth saw the older man. She knew what the law says concerning redemption, because it was taught to her by her husband, and she knew the way of the Israelite. Now, anyway, hearest thou not my daughter? Go not to glean in another field, neither go from this. She found grace in his sight, but abide here fast by my maidens. In other words, where they pick, you pick. In other words, here we go again in we're going to skip to verse 10 in chapter 2. She said, and she fell on her face. She been, oh, thank you. Now this, if you look at it, there's only certain people that have really adopted this way of greeting or gratitude. Mostly those of African descent and Asian descent. These are the only people. Now, the other ones, I don't even know how they even got into the Bible, but either way, that's not their culture. That's not what they do. And today you go around the Africans and you go around some of the Asians and you still see the same mannerisms. Okay, and Boaz answered in verse 11 and said unto her, it hath fully been shown me all that thou hast done unto thy mother-in-law since the death of thine husband, and how thou hast left thy father and thy mother and the land of thy nativity. In other words, where you were born, and art come unto a people which thou knowest not. Yeah, but she didn't know not, but she knew her husband. She knew his mama. Yes, she was with them. This is how it went. Now, here we go again. Now, it was again now, Boaz says unto her at mealtime, come thou hither and eat of the bread, and dip thy morsel in the vinegar. And she ate beside the reapers. In other words, he invited her to dinner. You know, come on in dinner. I mean, it wasn't by themselves in alone in a booth in the dark. No, he said among everybody else. Apparently, he liked the young woman. And then he said, and then she was risen up to glean. And Boaz commanded his young men, saying, let her glean. And you have to realize another thing. Her focus was on Boaz. Her focus was not on the young, good-looking men with the big busting muscles. She knew what she wanted. And therefore, she conducted herself and went after herself. So you want to call yourself a high-value woman. This was a high-value woman. A poor widow, young widow, with nothing. You want to be a high-value woman? Think about it. Okay? Now, it says, let her glean even amongst the sheaves and reproach her not. He said, don't rebuke her. Don't tell her nothing. You just leave her alone. Let her do what she got to do. You know, she's a good woman. And he saw the mannerism of this woman, and he's like, oh, I just love it. I love it. I love the way she walked. I love the way she talked. This woman act like a woman beyond her years. Yes. You want an older man. You want all this stuff. You want a man, a traditional man. You want a man that punk you saw when you were young. Then you started to go with Mr. Do Wrong and all this stuff because he was exciting. Yes. He treated you like a dirty wash rag. Yes, he did. And you loved every bit of it. But still, Mr. Do-Right went to school and did everything and got rich. Okay, now let's see. Let's put it this way. Let's go to verse chapter 3. Now, Naomi, her mother-in-law, said unto her, my daughter, I shall not seek rest for thee, that it might be well with thee. Now she said, go wash yourself. Go wash your body. You stink. I mean, well, anyway. Just a little something there. And anoint you. You know, put some oil on your body. Make yourself soft. And put your raiment on upon you. And get thee down to the floor. But make not thyself known unto the man until he shall have done eating and drinking, is what she said. Now it shall be when he lieth down that thou shalt mark the place where he shall lie. And thou shalt go and uncover his feet and lay down. Now, apparently Naomi knew what she was talking about, to lay down at this man's feet. What is to show humbleness, to show that I'm less, you're everything. I'm just less than that. She laid down at his feet, over his feet, and he woke up. What is this? What? Boaz was a man of the law. Okay. When Boaz was eating, drinking, and his heart was merry, he went down in verse 7. Ruth chapter 3. He had at the end of she came softly. I mean, real soft. He couldn't even feel her. Uncovered his feet and laid her down. And it came to pass at midnight, the man was afraid. He turned, oh, what is this? In verse 9, he said, who art thou? And she answered, I'm Ruth, thy handmaid. Oh, man, what is this? And spread therefore thy skirt over thy handmaid, for thou art a near kinsman. And he said, blessed be thou of the I am, my daughter, for thou hast showed more kindness in the latter end than at the beginning, insomuch thou hast followed not young men. In other words, he saw that her desire was not toward the young men. She wanted the near kinsman, and she listened to the instructions of Naomi. Okay. Now we're going to go to verse chapter 4, the end of it. Now, this is going to be it. When Boaz got up to the gate, he sat down there, and behold, the kinsman of Boaz came and spake by to whom he said, ho, such a one, turn aside, sit down here. And he turned aside and sat down. He called the near kinsman, the nearer kinsman to Naomi. And he said unto the kinsman, Naomi that is come again out of the country of Moab selleth the parcel of land which was our brother's Elimelech's. And I thought to advertise thee, saying, buy it before the inhabitants, therefore the elders of my people. And if thou wilt redeem it, redeem it. But if thou wilt not redeem it, then tell me, that I might know, for there is none to redeem it beside thee. He was the nearer kinsman. See, Boaz was a further kinsman than the nearer kinsman. Okay? Now Boaz is telling me that if you're not going to do it, I'll redeem it. And then said Boaz in verse 5, what day thou buyest the field of the hand of Naomi, thou must buy it also of Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of the dead, to raise up the name of the dead upon his inheritance. In other words, according to the law of the Most High, this is what had to happen. So he charged him with this. And the kinsman says, I cannot redeem it for myself, lest I mar my own inheritance. In other words, I got an inheritance too. Redeem thou my right to thyself, for I cannot redeem. In other words, he passed it on. So therefore now it comes to where the shoe comes in. Now, and then after that, he says, now the man plucked off his shoe in verse 7 and gave it to his neighbor, and this was the testimony in Israel. Now, therefore the kinsman said unto Boaz, buy it for thee. So he drew off his shoe, gave it to Boaz. Okay. Now Boaz said unto the elders, unto all the people, you are witnesses this day that I have bought all that was Elimelech's, and all that was Childon's, and Mahlon's, and the hand of Naomi. Of the hand of Naomi, should I say. Moreover, Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of Mahlon, have I purchased to be my wife, to raise up the name of the dead upon his inheritance, that the name of the dead might not be cut off from the gate of his place. Ye are witnesses this day. So they got married. He got the land, he got the woman, and that was it. And so Boaz and Ruth says, and she was his wife. And then in and he went into her, and the I am gave her conception, and she bare what? Jesse. Yes, Jesse. She bare Jesse, and now David's going to come after. And with all that, we're going to say peace.